Meeting to order. Donna, would you please do the roll call?
Ms. Chesney?
Here.
Ms. Kearns? Not yet. Mr. McMillan?
Here.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. Veal?
Here.
Ms. Williams?
Here. Okay, would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, to start our meeting tonight, I would like to review the board norms with everyone, please. We all agree as a board to put the needs of students, teachers, and staff first, to model the behaviors the board expects of students, teachers, staff, and community members in all aspects, to ensure that we are fully prepared, on time, and ready to participate. We're going to make decisions as a team based on facts and serve as an advocate for PK-12 public education. Okay, we have recognitions tonight.
I'm the math team sponsor over at Central High School, and this year we had a very amazing year. We had 13 kids qualify to go to the state competition, and we had 11 compete, and they got the highest ranking we ever have had. So they got 4th place out of all the states in Missouri. And I do want to recognize the team members. Do you want them to come up? And then they also have individual recognitions. Which way do you want me to do it? Individual or everybody first?
How about everybody first? That way the individuals are already up.
Okay, perfect. So the members of the team that got this 4th place finish, it was a combination of all of them. Zeke Simpson, Alex Lawyer, Grady Mubala, Christian Lopez, Maxim Berg, Alex Miller, Nicole Roach, Ayla Coates, Isabella Hernandez, Tommy Fan, and Zion Pickett.
Stay up there to hear what comes.
All right, we're gonna see. I'm gonna squeeze in.
Okay. Rhonda, you might either come all the way to the end or probably best. Okay, there we go. Okay, can everybody see me? Yay, here we go. Stretch your hands. Okay, these guys also racked up a lot of individual and small team awards. So one of the events is called Relay, and that is a small team event of 3 people. So in first place of all of the schools was a team of Christian Lopez Maxenberg and Zeke Simpson. place was Tommy Fan, Zion Pickett, Grady Mabella, and that was the same event. So in the relay they got. Some of the individual events, Tommy Fan, you got 5th place in target competition for 12th graders. Maxenberg got 2nd place in the sprint competition for 12th graders. Christian got 2nd place in target competition for 12th graders and 5th place overall in that same competition. Grady got 4th place in the target competition for 12th graders, 4th in the sprint competition for 12th graders, and he was 4th place overall in the whole competition, which earned him a spot at the national competition. And I know he didn't get to go, but he's still qualified to go, and it's by invite only, so that was pretty awesome. And then we have Zeke Simpson was 1st in the target competition for 12th graders, 2nd place overall for target. He was 3rd place overall for the whole competition for everyone, which also landed him a spot on the national level. And through that was about a week and a half ago, he found out that he actually qualified for the international level. So that's the first time anybody's ever done that from around here. So that's pretty amazing. Oh, at nationals, he was 6th place for 12th graders. Yes. That's all the awards we have for math. So pretty awesome year.
Before Ms. Gonzalez leaves us, Danielle, thank you so much for your work in math instruction and leading that over at Central. She's a rock star, so thank you.
Alrighty, next we have Jill Blazer with FBLA and DEC recognitions.
Central FBLA competed in April at the state contest in Springfield, and there were over 13,000 competitors across the state. We had 28 students compete in 21 different events, and I believe the ones that I saw that are here that placed, is it Sarah and Solomon? And City. Is there anyone else that made it? We had 12 students who placed in the top 10 at state level and were able to go up on stage in front of 13,000 people. And so, yeah, getting up on stage was a big deal. So, can you guys come? Solomon, City, Sarah, okay. All right, so from left to right, City was on a team that placed 8th in the state for financial planning. So great job, City. Sarah Gupta was on a team for a supply chain management project, and she and her teammate, Maria Mundungu, were state champions. And they are competing at nationals in June, so we're getting ready for that. So I wish them well, and I will keep in touch. And then Solomon Goodman was, sorry, I'm looking at placement, 5th place for Management Information Systems and National Qualifier as well. So great job. We appreciate all their hard work and Central and St. Joe's and so well. Thank you.
All right, come on back a little.
I was gonna come here.
Yeah, there you go.
If there's anyone else from Benton and Lafayette, FBLA and DECA, well, it would be FBLA state or placements or DECA participants at the international level. Are there any here? Okay, I will make sure that I get those certificates to the students and their teachers.
All right, we're going to recognize our Altech Innovation Challenge winners. The St. Joe School District is proud to recognize an outstanding accomplishment by our Benton High School students. For the third consecutive year, Benton students earned the top honor in this highly competitive STEM experience. This year's winning project proposed the addition of a cosmetology program at Hilliard Technical Center and was developed by Benton High School juniors Banker Whaler, Rhiannon Penland, Preston Houston, and Miranda Anaya. Out of 31 submissions, 9 finalist teams advanced to present their ideas after spending a semester identifying real-world challenges and developing innovative, community-focused solutions. Finalists were evaluated on creativity, presentation, and community impact. The Benton team's proposal identified a gap in current course offerings across St. Joe schools and presented a vision for expanding career pathways for students. This achievement reflects not only the talents of our students, but also the dedication of our educators, mentors, and community partners who support them. We extend our sincere appreciation to everyone who guided and challenged these students. Special thank you to Altech for creating and sustaining this powerful opportunity. Kelly Locke, Corey Elms, Emma Zeptic, Brandy Miller, and Mike Moore for their leadership and commitment to student success.
Miss Dunn, can I also bring Stephanie Hartley up here? Almost got out of it. Yes, no way, Stephanie, come on up. Stephanie was their instructor that led them through this work. Thank you, Stephanie.
Next, we want to recognize our students who participated in the Make 48 competition. This innovative learning experience provided students with the opportunity to demonstrate the key dispositions outlined in the St. Joseph School District's portrait of a graduate, including communication, problem solving, respect, courage, and engaged citizenship. Student teams presented videos of their projects and shared their research with a panel of judges, focusing on designing and developing prototypes to improve the comfort and safety of electrical line workers in real-world conditions. We are excited to congratulate Spring Garden Middle School for earning top honors with their winning design. This team, known as the Synchronizers, is comprised of Jayla Hogan, Isabella Fiden-Shaw, Alex Arroyo Ruiz, and Trayvon Hoffman, under the leadership of Miss Stephanie Lyle and Mrs. Cindy Hovenga. This talented team will advance to the regional finals in Wisconsin this summer, proudly representing the St. Joseph School District on a larger scale.
English Language Development Specialist with the St. Joseph School District, and we're delighted at the invitation to share our 2026 recipients of the Seal of Biliteracy this year. 2 years ago, we took notice that many of our heritage language learners were not participating in this honor, and we developed a process under the direction of Dr. Carrie Anderson and Dr. Michelle Scholes to invite those students to participate in the survey of their abilities to do so. Under this program last year in 2025, we had 7 recipients of the Seal of Biliteracy outside of world languages, with 1 who was a Chuukese speaker and the remainder were Spanish speakers. This year we have 17 heritage language learners receiving the Seal of Biliteracy through 9 distinct languages and 1 with the Distinguished Seal of Biliteracy. Our World Language Department has also had 3 languages supported in French, Spanish, and Latin, and they had 13 recipients, with 1 being distinguished this year. To give you a bit of background on this program, the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has a rigorous standard that students must pass through in order to receive this dual language recognition, which includes potentially the AP assessment, an AAPPL assessment, a LYRA for the Latin language, Advanced Stamp 4S or Stamp 2S with portfolio elements in the event of only 2 language domains. Students must also meet a minimum threshold for English proficiency on either the EOC, the ACT, or the Access Test, which is our English language proficiency exam. So with this in mind, students are also required to demonstrate social cultural competency, which means that they are aware of the world and how we interact with one another through our different dynamics and social interactions, and potentially how we would interact in a circumstance under biases, so that we can overcome those and work together to be a better society. While the state standards are very rigorous to receive this certificate and medallion, the state of Missouri does not currently recognize it as a market value asset. However, our St. Joseph School District has recognized this and will continue to work with the state to promote that for our students and staff. It is with pleasure I now present to you the students who have received the 2026 Seal of Biliteracy for the St. Joseph School District Board to recognize. In the language of Burmese, we have Siti Kimi and Isaac Ia. If you're here, please come up. In the language of Filipino, or otherwise known as Tagalog, Ma Althea del Salvacion, who is distinguished, and Yuan Benavides de Guzman. I apologize, Yuan, if I said that last name wrong. Please come up. I know I saw it. No? Okay. In Arabic, we have Doa Hamdouni and her sister Isra Hamdouni. We have in Chuukese, Binyana Nestor. In Hindi, I know that Asaf is here. We have Asaf Gupta. In Urdu, we have Marbrur Khan. Vietnamese, we have Angelin Tran. We have several Spanish recipients, of which are Gabriel Aviles Tacho. Santiago Gonzalez Araga. Diana Romo Onata. Tanya Hernandez. Christian Lopez.
I love you.
Jacqueline Machado Chavez. David Ramos Batista. And Gracia Navarro. From world languages, our recipients are Walker Klassen in Spanish. Dayton Fitzpatrick. Isabel Ricardo Hidalgo. Ryan Howard. Jackson Lindley, is that how you say Jackson? Jackson Lindley, are you here? Alexander Miller. Cambry Phelps. I'm sorry, that Jackson, Alexander, Cambry, and Reagan Watson, who was our next recipient, are all the French recipients. And then I have 2 in Latin. I have Zeke Simpson. And Zion Pickett received it in 2025, but received his medallion this year, so we're going to honor him as well tonight. We would like to continue to expand this program, but we also want to wish each of these students and all of their wonderful endeavors. I have visited with each of those that are the heritage language, and they have great ambitions for the future. So we're so grateful for their societal contribution and for their future options and opportunities in this world. Thank you for all that you do.
Let's have taller students in the back, and let's have our shorter students come forward. And we're probably going to have some people kneeling a little bit. Okay, so taller students in the back.
How exciting, that's why we're all here, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mhm. Yes. are ready for audience participation, and Dakota Allen, you're our first one up tonight.
Good evening, my name is Dakota Allen. I should be pretty quick tonight. I'm set to continue teaching as an elementary education teacher here for the St. Joseph. Request certain public records, and that's what I'm doing today. The email's already been sent. I'm just talking about this publicly because I really don't trust that it's actually going to be followed through on. There's going to be some loophole used to say, oh, well, you don't deserve that information when we have. And honestly, just shame on you and ahead of time because I know it's going to be used. Other than that, I'm excited to look forward to digging by a constitutional violation occurred. Thank you.
Incentives for experience to get them on the same page with everybody else. Keeping career ladder is a far more effective investment than constantly rebuilding our staff. From an ethical standpoint, educators enter the profession knowing that they would never become wealthy, but we did expect fairness and good faith. The teachers who are staying in St. Joe have upheld our commitment to our community and our students through very challenging times. Staffing shortages, sub-shortages, administrative changes, increasing responsibilities, and growing academic difficulties and emotional challenges. Career Ladder recognizes the professionalism and dedication of our existing staff members. On a personal level, this matters deeply to our educators and our families. Like I said, teachers stay late to tutor students, attend games, concerts, answer a ton of parent emails all the time, and create safe classrooms where children feel seen and safe. Career Ladder acknowledges work that is already happening every single day, work that's done because teachers care. We understand district finances are tight and getting tighter. However, balancing budgets on the back of our educators risks driving more excellent teachers away from our community. The expenditure directly invests in both students and teachers at a time both need critical support and both academics and recruitment and attention. MSTA respectfully asks you to preserve our current career ladder structure with 3 levels. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Michaela Miller.
Hi, my name is Michaela Miller, and I have taught in St. Joe School District for 14 years.
Today I'm addressing the board at the start of my summer break because I think we need to really zoom out and reevaluate what we are doing as a district and how we are treating our staff, especially our veteran staff. I'm speaking out today because frankly, many teachers are scared too. We are overwhelmed, we are tired. I spent about half of my day today packing up my classroom after spending all of workday Thursday and all of Friday packing as well. We've been watching these meetings, studying the financial documents, and watching the personnel reports as resignation after resignation rolls in. We hear talk about the savings, but these savings are my friends. They're teachers who are phenomenal. How have we become so focused on the financial crisis that we've lost sight of why we're here? We're here to educate kids. CSIP priority 1 is effective teaching and learning. Yes, we still have some incredible educators left in this district, but many are leaving, and many of us who remain are hanging on by a thread. Right now, teachers across this district are watching this meeting, knowing that contracts do not need to be signed until June, and they are wondering whether this board is going to show them that they matter. So I want to make my request very clear. Please make no changes to career ladder, or at the very least, consider cuts so that the veteran teachers are not the ones that are hurt the most. And that's what I handed out with some different options to where we can make it more equitable for all teachers. At the last board meeting, Mr. McMillan said that our CSIP priorities are rubbing against each other, and I don't disagree with that. But then it was also said, financially, we want to reward you for your years of service and your dedication to the district. And I feel like I'm still waiting on that part of the promise. So what is going to come out on top? Is it going to be money, or is it going to be student learning outcomes? It was also said that we're thankful that we didn't have to freeze our salaries. And I don't know many teachers feeling very thankful right now. Surrounding school districts, Park Hill is one of them, giving teachers 3% raises. And those teachers have not been put through the emotional distress that our teachers have. Next year, I'll begin year 15. I have my master's degree from when I started my career, and I also have my specialist degree in school leadership. Last month, my take-home pay, $3,100, and that's including class coverage and being a department chair. My salary increase for next year, $768 for the entire year. $64 a month before taxes. That's barely a 1% raise. I have 3 kids. I love Aldi, I love garage sales as much as the next person, but I deserve a livable wage, and all teachers deserve a livable wage. Those of you who know me personally know I'm positive, I'm a problem solver, I'm adaptable, I can go with the flow. That's what teachers do, right? We adapt, we sacrifice, and we show up for kids. But what is our breaking point? At the last meeting, Ms. Chesney, you said that everything we do impacts kids, and I agree with that as well. But I want to ask this board, what is worth more to us, copiers or teachers? Fancy new radios with, I saw that $20 belt clips, or a veteran teacher who knows how to teach a kid how to read? I really appreciate the work that's being done by the board. I know we've got to cut costs. I appreciate all of Dr. Hedgeworth's work. But I'm begging you, please stop balancing the budget on the backs of teachers. I am fully confident that this board can find the money to fully fund Career Ladder, or at least restructure the program so veteran teachers aren't being hurt. Bottom line is, a teacher's working environment is a student's learning environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, roll call, please, Donna.
Jacob.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
seconded?
Cassandra.
Christina. Okay, sorry. Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Abstain.
You might have Kearns on too, Donna.
Pardon?
It's Jennifer.
You might
Was
have.
Jennifer on? I didn't know she was. I'm sorry. Jennifer?
It just came on. I'll skip this vote.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I didn't know when she joined.
All right, can I have approval of the consent agenda, please?
Can we get the numbers of that?
I'm sorry.
Yes, no's, abstentions.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Hang on. Did Mike abstain? No. Okay.
No, for the agenda, you mean?
Yeah,
No, I voted yes.
Okay. We have
2 abstentions.
4 yeses and 3 abstentions.
Yes.
Can we move the meeting minutes from the 3/24 meeting out of the consent agenda? I personally don't want to. I'm not opposed to the rest of the consent agenda, I just don't want to vote on that portion of the consent agenda.
So we are pulling out the meeting minutes? Is that correct?
From the 3/24/26 meeting, I wasn't on the board at that time, and I don't want to approve those minutes.
So we need to
I'll second that.
What, do you have to have a motion to remove it from the consent agenda?
I think so. I think you can pull it.
Hang on
You can
just a
pull it
second.
and put it.
Computer's not working.
And I think it's so, I don't think you have to put it at the end. I think it'd be okay just to deal with it,
Okay.
I think.
From the rest of the
Can I say
consent
that
agenda?
again?
Restate that again, Donna.
Oh, I was just gonna say, where we move it in the discussion, I don't think it has to be like at the end of the action items or anything like that. It can be at the beginning, probably, of the agenda, of the action items.
Yeah, so it would become,
Or maybe,
would it be easier just to put it at the end to keep the letters in order?
yeah,
So,
yeah, I mean, it's just I get what you're doing. It's just
yeah, I get it too.
just a meeting minutes approval.
Yeah.
Mine's the same, yours is just spinning? That's what
Just
mine
came
did too.
back.
I'm afraid it's the, there, came back. Okay, so we're moving
The March minutes,
You're gonna have to move them all.
move it all.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll move the approval of the minutes down to 8N.
Okay. Sorry that I can't.
No, you're
I
fine.
can't. So moved. Okay.
So we're ready for roll call.
Who made the motion in the second?
Jacob made the motion, Cassandra seconded it.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't second that motion.
Oh, you,
We need a motion for the consent agenda.
sorry.
Yeah, you need a, yeah.
What's your
Okay.
agenda?
Motion to approve the new consent agenda.
So this is for consent agenda minus
The
the March
minutes.
minutes.
Yes.
It's amended. Motion to approve the consent
Yeah.
agenda as amended.
And you need a second?
Yes,
You got it.
okay.
Thanks.
We got it now.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Chesney,
Yes.
Ms. Kearns,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes?
Ms. Miller,
Abstain.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Field,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes. Okay, 6 yes and 1 abstention. Okay, we are ready for the superintendent's report.
Okay, I will be speaking to 2 items later on the agenda. One of them is facilities and the DLR agreement, and then the other one is our district reorganization. So I put those on action item and informational, so that way the public have an opportunity to speak to those, but I will speak to those soon.
Okay. All right, we're ready for the academic report. Ms. Studer?
Happy Tuesday, guys. Thank you for celebrating all of our students' accomplishments as we close out the school year. It has been an honor to watch the BLD department lift up the civil biliteracy. And so it was nice to see those numbers and an increase of the heritage language with the world language. Tonight I'm going to share with you in my assistant superintendent's report, and I'm going to talk a little bit, kind of nerd out a little bit on evidence-based versus research. So there are things that we know that are evidence-based, which means that it's also been, they've studied it, they've looked at it in theory, but it's also been a practical application. It's been carried forward in the classroom that has led to positive student outcomes. And the one I want to showcase tonight is something that you guys approved last spring. And in that, we did a revision of the department chair work. The department chair, that range, as a district, we make a financial investment in teacher leadership with that. And the department chair responsibilities, the compensation, ranges from $2,379 to $4,109. And that depends on the size of the department led and the number of years served in the department chair role. When we looked at that, we looked at it from an organization, and we saw the power to lead collective teacher efficacy there. And what I mean by collective teacher efficacy is where you bring really strong educators into one space and you work on a belief and you surround them with learning and a communication and consistent priorities. And then so that in the revised job description, we asked that we add the criteria that you attend and actively participate in monthly department chair meetings that align to department goals with district initiatives and strengthen instructional leadership. This is a two-way communication process, so this helps us ensure that decisions remain connected to classroom realities, what's happening in the classrooms, while also maintaining alignment to those, like I spoke to, district priorities. To support this work, our team intentionally prioritized that tiered meeting structure, and so not only did we bring teachers together, Dr. Reed was very keen in the idea of let's bring our principals in this space too. They need to be serving as instructional leaders, and so each principal was assigned content to kind of oversee and kind of be the lead charge of their particular site. Although I will say that Dr. Reed and Tabitha and I wished we could be present at every meeting. These meetings were held on Wednesday, and they were held on Wednesday for a specific reason because there's no sporting events on Wednesday minus cross country for our middle school. And it also allowed us to kind of divide and conquer. So for example, I could not make every math meeting, so I attended 3 of the math meetings, 4 of the English meetings, 2 of the social studies. We looked at data, determined where do our district leadership need to be. And we used the data from the predictive reports, and we used it from the state summative assessment data to determine where the priorities needed to lie. Or it was work that we needed to lift up. For example, high quality core resources, feedback from teachers, so forth. I want to thank, again, Dr. Reed for ensuring those principals were at the table because they were the linchpin to go back to the buildings to ensure whatever we talked about in that department meeting was carried forward back into the classrooms. And those department chairs also then took the communication that we gave back to their PLC teams. And so they had meetings with their teachers and said, these are the district priorities. This is where our numbers and our predictives. Now, I want you to remember this is our first year of implementation. Although we have led this is something I did in Dr. Smith's room over at Central when I was a young teacher and with Mrs. Grable. These are new teachers that are serving in district leadership roles, and we want to support them in their roles. So I did send out a survey. We finished up. I know that we had a retirement party at Missouri Western. We had to set those dates way back in March. We did not cancel any meetings. We moved forward with the meetings. Teaching and learning is our priority. And so we held our last meeting on May 13th. May 13th, that was that Wednesday. And then on May 15th, I sent a survey out that Friday, 2 days after our last meeting, and sought feedback from our department chairs. I put that feedback as an attachment for you to have so that you can kind of glean what our department chairs, our teacher leaders are saying. I will say that the results demonstrated strong positive perceptions of the work. And so when you look at that, you'll see that 89.7% believe that meetings were structured and were relevant to their role, that 96.6% reported feeling informed regarding district leadership and district initiatives and priorities, and that 96.6% indicated they felt supported by district leaders, instructional coaches, and building principals. In addition to the quantitative data, those numbers that I just shared, I also placed for you the qualitative data, what they said. And so there were 3 questions that we just asked them. Hey, what's working well? What can we grow in? And anything else you want to provide for us. Our team is actively processing that feedback in this initial year, and we're making revisions to continue strengthening that structure moving forward. I intentionally did not provide themes or summaries or throw it into the ChatGPT or AI. I wanted you to see the authentic voice of our department chairs. I wanted you to see that we're continually refining the work and we're building systems and we're leading with authentic voice from our teacher leaders. I also want to publicly express my sincere gratitude to those department chairs. They're instructional coaches who carried out that work, and our principals and the members of our academic service team that made this a priority. The structure represents a significant investment of time and money, but I can tell you it's the right work. This is the right work. As Peter Dunker reminds us, efficiency is doing things right, but effectiveness is doing the right things. We have to do the right things. This is the right thing, department chairs. Our work has been grounded in building those right systems so that our instructional effectiveness is not dependent upon an individual. It's dependent upon a system, an organization that will function way later when I'm out of this seat. Whether systems are intentionally designed for collaboration and feedback, students are the greatest benefactors of this work. I know that when student outcome data, FYI, we've seen the raw data in the EOC work, that the structure will be one of the contributing factors in the positive results that we see. Dates for next year's department chair meetings have already been shared with principals and department chairs to ensure it's a priority. Are there any questions about department chairs?
That's good data. Good data, thank you.
The last item I wanted to share was just a follow-up with you. I know that we led again in the EOC redesign to ensure that our EOC scores were included in the final grades. And so I wanted to share that EOC testing concluded on May 8th from a district lens. Understand that buildings can set that, like building principals can say, hey, I want this to close on May 6th. And then I want to work on ensuring that anybody that's been absent, we can close out, anybody that was absent those 2 days. But on May 8th, we closed that window. And when we closed that window, the raw scores were available to principals and teachers by May 18th. And so on May 18th, we were promised that within 5 to 8 business days, and DRC delivered. And so teachers had that data to share with students should they want. I will say that the board and the community also have access, I included that as an attachment, to a concise reflection for each of the EOC tested subjects. And so what you'll see there is feedback that says, hey, where do we need to grow in this EOC tested area? What academic structures do we need to put in place there? This work is represented in the professional learning plan in 26-27, which you just approved. And so we're going to lead that work in professional learning. And I want to state what matters most of this is the work is already shifting how we talk about instruction. We use data and ultimately how we support students achieving at higher levels. And when I go back to the evidence-based practices, there are 2 key pieces that we led in the EOC redesign, right? First of all, data-informed practices. It's a big, high-impact piece when you talk about increasing student achievement. The other piece is timely feedback to students. And so before, our students weren't getting results back until September. We don't know the cut scores yet for the state. We have no idea what the state's going to say in advanced, proficient, basic, or below basic. However, we do see the cut scores for the last 3 years. We've used that as a model to kind of guide us in our direction. And again, I can speak to this as being a catalyst for why we're going to see improvements in the EOC tested subjects. I appreciate all your time and thinking in this work, and I'm grateful for the changes that you guys are helping us lead in the work of academics.
Well, and I just want to say to you, Sneisha, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your enthusiasm for student achievement and I appreciate how you support everyone who's helping with that student achievement, because I do feel like it's making a difference, and I appreciate that. And I do think it's a wonderful idea that kids get their scores sooner. Then they understand the reason why they're taking it, and I think that will help along the way as well. So thank you for really pushing for that, and thank you for all you do and that your team does for kids.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Corral.
Okay, the personnel report. On assembly, you have the personnel report and the supplemental report that was added earlier today. The supplemental report is also at your workstations for you to review as well. I'm sure as you look through those, you're probably alarmed as well as I am on the number of resignations and retirements of staff. We do need to improve on retention, but, and I know I'll probably get grilled on social media for this, but unfortunately that's a norm. Those numbers that you see is a norm for our district. We are only 9 certified staff members heavy on resignations and retirements from last year. I know that, again, we need to work on that, but we are not seeing an extreme number of resignations as perceived. If you don't have any questions, I ask for a motion for approval on the personnel reports.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
And then though, I have a comment about your comment. I know that you think you know that the number is not extreme. I think that the caliber is though, because we're losing a lot of longtime employees, and I think it makes a difference from the previous year's retirees or resignations over losing individuals who have had years and years of extra dedication to the district. And so while I get what you're saying, I think that this is a different kind of message though. I do have a question about the personnel report. It's about the procedure for policy BBFA, and I would have emailed this like I emailed everything else. Okay, but the questions about the personnel report that was emailed earlier this afternoon, I will abstain because it listed my daughter. Only I looked at the agenda last week and I gave lots of questions and things like that. Now, if I would not have looked at the personnel report an hour prior to the meeting, maybe I would have voted on it, and then I would have also needed, to resign my position over voting on the employment of my child. Okay, but the question that I have is, and before I ask my question, I want everybody to understand, I don't mind reading things over and over and over again. I don't mind coming, to meetings, being extra prepared, as mentioned in the board norms, as we say every meeting. Okay, but the question that I have is in policy BBFA, it mentions the superintendent or the designee shall bring forth the names of the individuals who are related to board members. Now I just have a question, are we going, to go by that or not? Now listen, as I said, I'm completely okay with reading everything over and over and over again, even at the last minute, as I did this afternoon. And are we going to go according to the policy? Because we've not, and I was okay with that, but is this issue right now where there are members of the board who are coming unprepared and they're not looking at the information and they're creating violations of the Missouri Constitution. And so it can all be cleaned up, by adhering to the policies, or board members, just reading their stuff. I don't know, what do you guys think? And like I said, I would have brought this earlier, you know, but as you mentioned, it was only added on this afternoon. And I noticed, that my daughter's name was mentioned. I didn't know she was going to be mentioned. My daughter didn't know she was going to be mentioned. It's a good thing I read it or I'd have to resign. But I just want to know, going forward, what are we going to do?
I'm new here, but where I come from, whatever we practice needs to be the policy. So regardless if that's not something that we're going to do, then I think we need to update our policy to state that. I mean, whatever the practice.
The policy we're talking about
It's BBFA. It's under the nepotism section.
right, and it says that.
It says for the purposes.
We fill out paperwork, right?
Yes.
It says in the event that an individual is recommended for employment or appointment, and the individual is related within the fourth degree to a board member, the related board member shall abstain from voting and shall leave the room
Right.
during consideration of the question and vote unless it's part of a consent agenda. But then it goes on to say the superintendent, on the second paragraph, second sentence, says the superintendent or designee shall bring forth names of individuals who are related to board members within the fourth degree and who have applied and are going to be interviewed for any position within the district.
Okay, so your question is, will
Yep.
superintendent or designee bring those names to us before?
Well, in all honesty, it's either that or the members of the board are responsible adults and read your board packet and act accordingly. As we've been doing.
I will be more than happy to, we meet after, my team meets after each board meeting. I'll be more than happy to have a discussion if there are some board member family that we identify those and give you a heads up. Problem is we're going to need to know who those family members are specifically so we can
We
identify
fill out a
those.
form every year.
And your office asks for it, they have it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, I honestly, it'd be my preference if that's honestly removed and we're just all accountable. Because we all know about the names listed on the sheet and we all know what we're supposed to do. I don't want you to think that I'm on your back about this. Okay, but I know what the policy says, and I know that this afternoon, if I would not have looked at the information again, I'd be resigning right now.
I think that's fair for us to take a look at that and make some notes.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, for tonight, so the supplemental seems to be the one that maybe I reviewed already. Is the other one supplemental or am I?
So the one that you probably reviewed a few days ago is the personnel report. The supplemental was added today.
Okay.
Because since we have to have stuff uploaded by last Tuesday, then we have several other orders of business that we need to take care of on hiring between last week and today to get those in a timely manner. So that's the purpose of the supplemental. That's the one that it should be titled supplemental, and it's also in your folder at your station.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
This is in addition to the one that was on the original
Okay.
agenda.
All righty, could I have a motion for an acceptance of the personnel report, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cassandra. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
And Mike? Okay, if you do a roll call, please.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller? Abstain. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Veal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
I abstain.
5 yeses with 2 abstentions. So the motion passes. Okay, Dr. Hedgeworth, we're ready for the April financials.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chesney. So for April, if you look at the first page of the April financial report, you'll notice that we received just over 90% of our revenue that was budgeted for the year. And so revenue is tracking as expected for this year. You also notice that expenditures are only at 77.8% of amount budgeted. And the big reason for that is payroll for our certified staff. So just a reminder, our June payroll not only pays June, but also July. And so that's why the expenses lag behind what you'd expect for revenues. As a lot of times you might look at your percentages and kind of say, okay, 1 month is 1/12 of items that are budgeted, and look at salaries and say, okay, we might be tracking. Remember that last month in June is not only June, but July, so it's double payroll for certified staff. So just an explanation behind why those expenditures are 77.8% and not tracking the same as have a higher percent as revenues would. Of course, next month, I'll be presenting our last budget amendment for FY26, as well as our preliminary budget for FY27. Please remember that with this preliminary budget, we do not have our excess valuation, we will not have our tax rate set, we will not have enrollment, and we will probably not know whether the governor will line item veto anything in the state budget or not. We will see, since that board meeting is on June 22nd, I believe. And so that preliminary budget is just preliminary. So just remember that next amendment in October, we know a lot more information at that time, because we know all the information that I just mentioned we don't know in June. So I'll be happy to answer any questions on the financials before I go on to the healthcare trust.
So the numbers we have here on the certified staff, non-certified, on the salaries, we technically have 3 salary payments left. May, June, and July.
That is correct for certified.
So that would be 25% of the budget, would be 1/4 of it.
That's
so
correct.
Will these percents be over 100%?
Remember, some of the certified staff will be compensated for other things they've done throughout the year. So July would just be for services that have already been rendered for that school year. It'll be probably slightly, you'll see in that amendment that we will need to increase certified percentage just a little bit, but then some other areas will be decreased, as well as some increases in some revenue. So I'm glad you brought that up. We believe we will end FY26 in the black. Our current operating fund balance percentage is 10.02%. We believe we will end the year at about 10.25%. So we are happy to stop that deceleration of our operating fund balance percentage and to start climbing after this year. The difficulty will be, of course, I reported last month that the state did not fully fund the formula. That is going to hit us between $3.5 and $4 million of a shortfall in FY27. So in the fall, I gave you a lot of scenarios about how we could continue to climb and recapture that 20% reserve ratio. Well, we have to reduce our revenue forecast by about $3.5 to $4 million for FY27. So we're going to have to continue to find ways to cut expenses and be able to have a balanced budget. So I'll have all that information in that June preliminary budget for you guys to analyze. Also want to mention that June budget will look different than it has in the past. I showcased it at the last financial workshop that we had for our committee, and it will be all encompassing in one document instead of several separate documents that has the budget narrative throughout for all of our revenues, expenses. It'll have a lot of things that the budget didn't have in the past, like enrollment forecast. It'll also have all of our positions by administration, certified and classified staff, all broken out in those areas. Because our budget is 75% driven by staff, so I think it really tells a story of how our FTE has changed over the years, pre-COVID, into COVID with all the CARES funding, all the positions that were added with that funding, and now that funding's gone, how it's affected our fund balances. And so I think that will tell a story and it'll keep us on track, because as we look at our FTE and look at where we can strategically place our staff to most benefit our kids, I think you'll also see where that affects us financially too.
Thank you.
All right, so our healthcare trust fund did run slightly in the negative for this last month, just over $17,000, but our total fund balance as of April was $5.48 million. So that healthcare trust fund is in a healthy spot, and as we continue into next school year, projections are it might run slightly negative, but since we have a nice fund balance there, we'll continue to monitor.
I have a question, and this may be silly, but can you explain to me what this is for? Just so I have
The healthcare trust,
yeah, just so I
sure,
understand.
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so many districts are fully insured, meaning that they have a insurance company where no matter what claims there are, they're fully protected. The thing with that is you're at the mercy of your health insurance company, meaning, let's say, for example, we had a 140% loss ratio, meaning, I'm going to use just even figures. We paid in $1 million to the company for our insurance, but they had to pay out $1.4 million. And so what would happen is the next year when they came back for renewal, they would say, well, your rates are going to go up 45% or we're going to drop you. And so we are self-insured, and so what that means is we take all of the dollars that are paid in for health insurance, and those dollars are ours. And so any claims that are paid out of those funds that we collect. And so what we do to ensure that we do not have a risk with some high claimants is we purchase stop loss insurance, meaning that any claim over $200,000 is covered by the insurance. So we pay the first $200,000, anything over that the insurance company pays. And so what this healthcare trust fund is it is a balance of all those dollars that go into that fund minus the claims of what we have left. And this fund has been around for way before me. And so coming into the year, I think it was like around $5.1 or $5.2 million. And so it is climbed just a little bit, but as you go into the summer, usually your claims accelerate. And so that is what we have, and that's why I report on that every month to show how we're trending there. If that continues to go down, let's say it goes down over $1 million next year, then we'll really need to look at what we are charging on our healthcare prices. And so our broker, Locked-In, is an actuary as well, and what they do is they run a bunch of scenarios and tell us what they think we should set the rates at to make sure our fund balances stay solid.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? Okay, could I have a motion for approval of the April financials, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jacob. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Field?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We're ready for approval of the bills.
Yeah, so nothing stands out in the approval of bills. Please note that we do have some spending deadlines for this fiscal year, so there's a lot of information in this one because everybody, was making sure they met that deadline, which I greatly appreciate. It helps us analyze our finances and give you guys a clear picture for how we're going to end this year and go into next year. But there's no one individual line item that stands out, but I'd be happy to answer a question if you have any.
Any questions? Okay, can I have a motion for approval of the bills, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jacob. Okay, roll call, please, Anna.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Field?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're ready for the facilities planning DLR agreement. Dr. Davis.
Thank you. So as you recall, a couple of weeks ago, Ian from DLR presented some options for consultation services in effort to improve, refresh our facilities plan. So that agreement is attached. What he did was ran that by his legal team with DLR. When we got that back on Wednesday, we ran that by our legal team. On Friday, we had some recommendations for supplementary conditions to be included in that agreement. That is now included in there and it is attached if you've had an opportunity to look at that. Some things to help us liability-wise were included, and so both parties have agreed. It is $60,000. I also want to note we are very aware of our financial reality, and we are also part of Community Alliance. I'm grateful for that group. I have requested some financial support from Community Alliance, and I know they will be working with some business partners to try and recruit some of those funds. I don't know exactly how much we will get of that, but I'm hopeful that we will not have to pay all of that $60,000 thanks to Community Alliance support.
I have a question
Sure.
about that. Okay, so if they give us I'm trying to think of how to put this. If they give us the funds to pay for this, what does that like entail for us? Like what's that contract look like? Like, because my thing is, if we accept money, normally that comes, you know, with stipulations or guidelines. And I'm just asking about if there's an idea of what that looks like for us.
So the presentation that I pitched to Community Alliance was that our school district impacts our entire community, including the businesses within our community. And so this is going to take a community effort to pull off this district reorganization and get us back on track. It would come in the form of a donation, so nothing as far as a contract, an agreement, or any stipulations on our end. I think we have people in the community who are willing to help us, and it's finally at a point where we need that help.
Okay, my other question is, it's like what I mentioned a couple weeks ago. If we agree to this, are we agreeing, you know, to listen to them no matter what they say? Because I don't want to waste our money or anyone else's money if we're going, you know, to do all this work and put all of this energy and everything into a plan, and then we get the plan back and we're like, no, I don't like that, let's scrap it, and then we're just in the position again. And so I would like our board in agreement, you know, if this is approved, we're going to listen to them.
Yeah, Ms. Williams, you know, I would say to that I think we're going to be in a financial position where we're going to have to make change. And I hesitate to give you this, you know, commitment that I'll do whatever they say in totality. I think the board should reserve the right to think, but I would absolutely expect that we do something or a major part of what they recommend.
I mean, that's still kind of watery. Like I do understand, you know, that it's our decision in the end, you know, and we've got the opportunity to think, but we could be doing that now and spending no money. Like my thing is, if we're going to listen to the professionals, let's listen to the professionals, not listen and then I'm going to think I know better even after listening to the professionals. I'm just going to say this, over time, I'm going to be voting no on this. And the main reason is, if we cannot agree to it, then I don't want to do it.
And my understanding from talking with Ian at DLR is that they will provide us with some options. So not necessarily say, this is what you need to do. They're going to gather input, and yours included in that dialogue, to make a decision for our district. But I understand ultimately that will come down to our board, but I don't believe they're going to just say this is the one way to go. I think you'll have options.
I'm in agreement with you, Mike, that I think we look at all of it. To me, it's scary to say I'm going to do whatever they say and not make any changes. I agree with what you're saying. I think if we're willing to have them come and have them go through this, I think by just saying we want some professional help, we're going to be willing to look at it and see what they have to say.
Yes, but the problem is our district's done this many times before. And then, I mean, in the past, using this exact same company, there are options. And we kind of did our own thing after spending how much? I don't exactly remember. I know that it was more money, you know, than this, but I mean, I'm just saying, and no more. Everyone knows what I think about it. You guys can go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah, I hear your concern. I know that as a community member, I served on Vision Forward, and on Vision Forward, there was a lot of priorities that came out of that. And a lot of those priorities still made it, and we've accomplished a lot of Vision Forward. So I feel like the last time we went through this process, there was priorities set, and then the board did execute and achieve many of those. So I do feel like there is a track record coming out of Vision Forward where a lot of things were accomplished that were gathered from the community.
I might chime in a little bit too, I've been through this process, and I've been through this process with DLR. They're kind of twofold. They are the professionals and experts when it comes to evaluating our spaces. And like you saw with the other information where they graded our facilities, talked about the pros and cons, year build, square footage, ADA compatibility and all that stuff. But the second part of what they do is they're a facilitator. And so they'll facilitate the discussion. So let's say, for example, we want to go through this process and I'm the one facilitating it. I probably have bias. I work for the district. I see things every day where if they're facilitating those community discussions, they don't have bias and they've been through this process. Also, the people they have facilitated are people that have been in education and that understand, what this has been, because they might have been retired superintendent for 30 years in Kansas or something like that. And then so they'll facilitate the collection of data from your community and get that input, and then what they'll do is they will organize that in a professional manner where it makes sense, and they will give you that feedback in a way that supplements with the professional expertise on your buildings, and not necessarily tell you what to do, but basically give you analytics. The best example I can say is like you're a manager for the Royals, and you have those analytics, and you're deciding whether bringing a lefty reliever against this guy or not. It doesn't say to do this or not, we're just giving you some information, and then as a board, you will kind of pick how you want that to do. So that's my analogy for that, if that maybe helps a little bit of what this process looks like. Another great thing they'll do is they'll bring in spaces from other projects they've done around the country, and they will do what they call a dot diagram, where you choose different educational spaces within the building that they think are collaborative for learning. And then as they see those, they will show those spaces that were most selected by your community members, staff members. A lot of times break those out. The big thing is we hope we can get a lot of collaboration and a lot of people want to attend those meetings and really publicize those, because that's where the power numbers comes in. Is the more people that you get interested in the process, then the more widespread opinions you get from things you never even thought about that I wouldn't think about being in my position, because they come from a different perspective. So I don't know if that helps me or not. I just try to get a little bit of perspective.
Well, I think I'm being kind of misunderstood. Because in all honesty, I do understand the process. I completely understand what they do. I know that they are an amazing organization and they are a powerhouse in their field. It's how come I'm saying, if we are going to do this, let's listen to them. Let's agree to do that. My problem isn't the company. My problem is what occurs after we get the information. I don't only want it to be just a click on the website. It's my issue. It's not the company at all. I just want to know. It's nothing against anything. I think that they're amazing at what they do to the level of I'm willing, to say if we do this, I'm agreeing, to listen. It's my only thing. I do appreciate that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that input, because it sounds like they do the gathering, the scope, all of that, and we get to manipulate the data to suit our district. So I like that, and that's how I understood him when he stood here and he told us what they do. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the expansion.
Could I have a motion, please, to accept the DLR agreement for our facilities planning?
So moved.
Thank you, Jacob. Can I have a second to that, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, would you call the roll, please, Donna?
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Veal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Thank you. Motion passes 6-1.
5-2.
5-2, thank you. All righty. No, what was that? It's 6-1.
I was going to know.
Cassandra said
Yes.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you for the correction.
You're welcome. All right, Jenny.
Good evening. I brought you back some more information about our audit services RFP. And I attached some info that we discussed at the work session. So if you guys don't have any further questions, I would recommend that we award the contract to KPA.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, I'd second.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we're ready.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Field?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, Dr. Hitchcock.
I'm actually going to pass this on to Mr. Casey Hausman.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. What I'm bringing to you tonight is the results from the bid that we went through Leader with. We had a really good turnout of our local contractors. The bid results did come in a little bit lower than we anticipated, which is an amazing thing. So thank you to everybody that took the time to bid and go through the job walks and the time just to put this together. We did do pretty extensive interviews after the process just to make sure everybody was on the same page and we compared apples to apples. So overall, we'll have Bruner Construction would be the general trades contractor, mechanical and plumbing would be Waldinger, and electrical would be Pinnacle. That total would be a grand total with contingencies and for construction and contingencies for the owner would be at an amount of $254,726.15. So what I'm asking tonight is for your approval to move forward with the construction at the proposed cost.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the moving forward for the Benton remodel?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cassandra. Can I have a second, please?
Sure.
Thank you, Kim. Okay.
I have a little discussion.
I'm sorry.
Can we tolerate that?
Yeah, sure.
Casey, so let me see. So I've had some questions from the public, and honestly, I get a little confused with everything too. So I guess part of the question goes to this, oh boy, CMAR versus, what's the other one, Dr. Hitchcock?
CMA.
Yeah, so which one are we using here?
This will be CMA.
And that's appropriate for this dollar spend of a project?
That is correct.
Okay, CMA, okay, good. And then the other thing is, at one time for budgeting, planning purposes, we were talking like 400-something thousand. I think all in with the CLA, everything? CMA, thank you. Well, all in, we're three, do you guys have a number?
It's $291,805.
291, okay, thank you.
Yeah, please note one thing. CMAR is at risk, so they have a guaranteed maximum price when you do CMAR, and so that basically puts the liability on them. Also with CMAR, the contracts are with the construction manager.
Right.
CMA, the contracts are with the district, and there's no guaranteed maximum price. With this project, though, it had to be CMA because it was below the threshold.
Right.
So please note that there may be some change orders as they go into and do all the demolition and things like that. And then if there was a contractor that does not perform, which I don't think will happen, because the contracts are with us, it's on us to make sure that that's rectified and handled appropriately.
Okay, thank you for that.
Even including the possible change orders, are we able to keep within budget, or will it go over, or is there a way of knowing that?
It's not necessarily a way of knowing. I definitely believe it to be under the $450,000 total that we originally had on this project. I don't see it, I don't see the project in total change orders being over 400,000. Matter of fact, if I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say it'd be the low 300s. Right now, if there's no change orders, everything stands pat, it'd be $291,805.
And what's the number of classrooms again?
So you have your metals classroom, your woods classroom, and then there's one large classroom that's becoming 2 classrooms that was the broadcasting classroom at that. So we are designing those spaces so they're better utilized. Then of course metals will be going out to the billiard.
3-4 classrooms then, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we're ready then for the vote.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 7-0. Alrighty.
Good evening.
Let's do
Back
the
to
ready
present
for
an action item here for you. It's been shared twice as an informational item. Just some last closing thoughts here as we leave this up. Remember, as we continue to evaluate from an academic lens the high impact practices that directly support student achievement, we want to protect the work that's closest to the classroom, the Tier 1 instruction. The career ladder framework is a system designed by the state, and it's important to remember that it's a shared partnership of the state. So the state funds 60%, we fund 40%. Throughout this process, we studied other districts. There were districts who elected not even to participate 2 years ago when the state put this out, and who are no longer continuing to participate in the program. We have gathered through the educator feedback in a working group. We've incorporated revisions through collaborative conversations with MSTA. And Beth and Kelly have shared a number of things that we have made in the revisions of there. Early discussions included considerations around ensuring that compensation is focused just on classroom educators. That was what we were looking at, like just let's support it through the classroom instructors. But based on stakeholder feedback through this revision, we refined and moved forward with revisions to reflect that input. And we included all groups under the DESE guidance in regards to coding. There's certain coding back behind data management that supports that. And so that was part of the revision. The other important adjustment includes beginning the professional learning cycle and the documentation of hours. So typically, a career ladder, most districts start July 1st, and we took that feedback and we are starting June 1st for the professional learning rather than July 1st. Those had to involve some complex conversations, ensuring we weren't messing with retirement, that things were okay there, because typically in that July time, that's when that fiscal year kind of starts. We did lead up that professional learning cycle, and it was adjusted to reflect that June 1st time. This change is intended to provide educators the opportunity to have full access and the benefit of the rich professional learning offerings that we're hosting in June. I continue to strongly advocate for things that are priorities, and I did so in the assistant superintendent's report tonight. Those are two areas that I know will make a positive difference in the instructional system and the student outcomes. We've already made some difficult concessions from an academic lens, and so the difficult concessions, which still, as I in the work of this funding and the financial reality of St. Joe, will impact classrooms, and we cut. And looked at the science resource and said, man, we're only going to lead this from a 5th grade lens, and we're supporting only 5th grade science classrooms with the core resource, knowing impact that the science assessment is grades 3, 4, and 5. And so we are hopeful that we can support later, when we get more stable as a district, the K-4 work of science classrooms. So as an academic team, we are hitting our classrooms right now. Our academic service team does recommend tonight the proposal that we laid out in front of you with the career ladder plan. The revised plan is organized around 5 main priorities that include a 2-stage structure to support and kind of encompass the financial reality that the St. Joe School District is in. In this revision, stage 1 remains the same. It provides certified educators with 2 years of experience in Missouri public schools with the opportunity to earn up $1,500 at a rate of $30 per hour for completion of 50 hours. In stage 2, it provides certified educators with 3 years of experience in Missouri public schools the opportunity to earn up to $3,000 with a rate of $40 an hour. I respectfully recommend board approval of the 26-27 St. Joseph School District Career Plan as presented.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
My first question is, if the program is to be implemented June 1, educators have already chosen their information about career ladder?
Yes, they turned in their tentative plans to their building principals before they left for a break, so they indicated on an intent for career ladder, are you on stage 1 or stage 2?
Did you also provide a provision for 1, 2, or 3?
We did not provide that revision or that provision.
Okay. Because it's not passed yet, and
No.
so, I mean, if it doesn't pass.
Right.
Okay. My other question is, after listening, to educators, and I've received lots of information about career ladder. I've done lots of research about career ladder. I've asked other districts across the state also about this thing. Okay, but the best information I think I've received is on this information right here, off of our own educator. Because the problem about the proposed plan is it penalizes our most tenured and experienced educators. It doesn't give them anything, to work towards. I know we just received this information, but I'm looking at the third proposal, and it eliminates your lowest stage of career ladder. And then it also keeps 2 and 3. And then if you look at the dollar aspect, it's almost what we're planning on doing. I just know that there are lots of educators who depend on career ladder. And $5,000 may not be a lot, to a lot of admin maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know what you make, what I'm just saying. Okay, but I know, that it can make a big difference to an educator, and I'm just leery of telling our most experienced educators, that we're going to cut you back. I do think, that the new educators would understand working towards career ladder. I could be wrong in that aspect, but I'm looking at the numbers and the amount of educators, that you would affect by eliminating a tier on the end over at the beginning is extremely vast. And so I know that the plan is, to move forward in a week on this new plan, that's not even approved under the board, and that kind of bothers me a little bit, that we're acting as though it's approved, as if it's a done deal, and it's not. Only I would like us, to really, really look at other options. As mentioned, by one of our educators, there's lots of educators watching this meeting, and they're being very, very careful about the choices, that we're making about their lives. I do understand cutting and the trimming and everything like that, If we're going to spend $250,000 on classrooms, but we're not able, to spend a little bit extra on the educators, in the classrooms. I think that's a problem.
I have a question. The previous career ladder plan, how many years did teachers have to teach in order to be able to take advantage of the $1,500 level? Was it 2 years, just like this one is?
Yes, that remained the same.
Okay, so the 2 years and the 3 years didn't change?
Yeah, that is state guidance.
Okay.
And so we stuck with the state guidance on that work.
And your collaborators. This isn't something that you came up with. So could you remind me who collaborated with you on this?
Yeah, there's been a number of individuals that have been a part of the process. We first started with a working group, and then from that working group, I shared with you guys in April that piece. I connected with them. We had I think it was a Monday board meeting. That Tuesday, we hosted another meeting with that working group. I sought feedback back from them and said, this is what was shared, thoughts on this. We looked at 4 different options from different districts. I think I shared those with you. One was the elimination. One was a flat rate where everybody was going to get $1,500 because that's what you can give because of how the system is set up by the state. The other was a flat compressed system. And then that flat compressed system, if everybody dropped, like it was $1,200, $1,800, and $2,800. And then, the work here that we're looking at. And one of the reasons that, we're honoring the $3,000 there at $40 an hour for student tutoring.
So Stacia, with
there's
your proposed plan, what's the estimated cost to the district for our portion? Can you remind me of that?
Yeah, principals are still finalizing the numbers and getting that up. I can tell you that Dr. McGinnis, I included her report again that she gave you guys. I do have initial numbers right now from the 25-26 career ladder. And those numbers have gone up a little bit. In Dr. McGinnis's report in May of 2025, in stage 1 we had 68, in stage 2 we had 54, and then in stage 3 we had 287, which was a total of 409. But this year in 26, right now, tentatively with these numbers and looking at them, like this is numbers I just looked at when I left, we have 70 educators in stage 1, 59 in stage 2, and 373 in stage 3.
And then has our legislation on this, is our state cutting funding to career ladder?
Yeah, Dr. Hedgecourt shared that with us at our superintendent's dialogue when we were with NEA and MEA back in, or MSTA back in April. That's where we took off kind of re-looking at this work.
Well, I'm asking because it's changed, like what the state has said they're going to do and not do, and what they're going to fund out and not fund out. It's changed, and the final cutoff, like you said, Dr. Hedgecourt, is not until the end of, or the beginning of June, correct?
Right, so the budget's been passed by the legislature. They cut $15 million from career ladder. And the governor has the right to line item veto. He cannot add anything to the budget, he can line item veto. So we don't know what the line item veto, but we know it won't be more. Like if they cut the $15 million, he can't add it back. He can only cut more. So that's what that line item veto can do. But so you're right, we don't know. And then part of the equation is, the pool of money that they have, you have all the public districts that are submitting their plans. And then you have what hours are actually completed. And they're uploaded to core data for them to pay that out from. And so you don't know until you have all the encompassing districts for that to know what the total cost is going to be. The state has been short on appropriations on every other thing this last year, and so our anticipation is they will be on that as well, especially cutting the $15 million. Can I tell you 100% certainty right now? No, because the governor hasn't, done his line item veto process or signed it yet, nor has DESE had all the applications completed and approved for career ladder yet.
Okay. Well, and I said it in our last meeting that I worry about the ripple effect that this is going to have on our staff retention and possible recruitment of teachers. Have you been given this at all?
No, I have not.
Thank you.
I have 2 extra copies of me.
Looking at the figure, even the top, the one at the top is just a flat reduction per stage, almost matches the cut, the estimated amount to your plan without cutting a stage. And without taking as much from the most tenured teachers. Because I just look at it and I get we have to cut money. I'm not saying that we don't make any kind of cut, but I mean, we're making this premise that we're going to make cuts that are furthest from the classroom as much as possible, and I just feel like this one is most definitely going to touch the classroom in a lot of different ways. And it's going to affect our retention of our most tenured teachers. And there's a cost associated with that. We lose out when we lose them.
So, listen, I've really wrestled with this one, and as you know, I said that I fear that the total comp system in education may be beyond my ability to understand, quite frankly. But if I look at it from a macro level, I fear that this is just one of the cost savings we're going to have to do in the coming year or two to adjust to our new financial reality. That's what I fear. And so one approach would be, well, look, we know we got to cut wherever we can, so do it. But what's given me hesitation here is, I don't know that I quite understand the impact. So we talked about 24-25 school year, 409 teachers received about $1.7 million. And you were just touching on this, and I don't know that I have these numbers right. When I asked the question earlier, the new plan I was told was maybe 400 teachers would be collecting 1.3. I think you may have just adjusted those numbers on us a little, which is understandable. Things are happening. But and then of course, you know, by the time the state pays the amount we expect them to pay, we maybe stand to save about $268,000 by doing this change. I guess my question is, none of this explains to me why, like the staff impact piece, right? So the part about how this affects most experienced teachers, and that's because they're participating more, or because they're on a scale to get paid more? Is that
correct. I'm sorry. That is correct.
Okay.
So if we have, if you consider the numbers, even just based off Dr. McGinnis, you had 287, if you times that by 5,000.
Yeah.
And that was in 25. In 26, our tentative number looks to be 373.
okay? But there is no 5,000 now. It's 30.
Well, right, if you know, moving forward, if this plan is approved, it would be 1,500 and 3,000, so it'd be a
Okay.
stage 2.
So where I'm getting at is our most tenured teachers who are currently in stage 3. If they were to participate in career ladder under this new proposed plan,
They're stage 2.
there's only a stage 2. And
Yeah.
so instead of having the ability to get compensated $5,000, we're going to only compensate them $3,000 for the same amount of work.
It's not the same, no.
No, it's
That's right.
cut hours. It's a modified
It's
hour
hours,
system
right.
of 75,
From how many hours?
100 hours.
Okay, so for 25 less hours, we're paying them $2,000 less.
Well, all in all honesty, all of us pretty much know, that they give way more hours than that anyway.
I can
Let's
attest
just
to
keep
that.
it real.
As a kid of teachers, my parents were given a lot of
Right.
time, and I think most of them do. My concern is, again, this is going to greatly affect our tenured teachers, and I do believe it's going to touch our classroom in negative ways. Would you even be open to looking at some of these options that she has presented as a compromise to still make cut and still save money, but also respect the value and the input that the teachers are putting into this? Because I don't know if
But
we all give.
Just at a glance, the number came out, total expense should be the same. So does that then mean that a lot of lower experienced teachers won't be able to participate? Is that what we're saying?
I-
How can the money be the same if it's gonna?
Hers is,
It depends on the package. It depends on which proposal. Also, we need to keep in mind, that Jen's not able to look at this information. I think it's extremely good information worth allowing everybody, to look at, especially on a decision of this magnitude.
I have a question, is there a way we can figure out who created this plan that you wouldn't have had it ahead of time?
Yeah, I'm not sure who
She's
created
right
the
here.
plan, and if it was not shared with me ahead of time.
It was a part of audience participation.
I'm just curious because I want to make sure I have all the information. Just you created this plan? Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Dr. Hedgecorth, it was mentioned that how we can spend money on a building but not on our teachers. Would you please, some of that comes from the bond still, correct? Or the interest we have grown through the bond?
Depends on which construction projects. Any bond expenditures are restricted just to bricks and mortar. And so it just depends on which project that was done, whether it was spent out of Fund 4, local funds, or the 2024 bond.
Okay, so a lot of that we had talked about, we had already talked that it would likely, or there's some that we have to spend on the facilities that we cannot spend on our teachers.
Right, we have that June 3rd deadline to make sure we
Right.
avoid that arbitrage to pay back that interest, so.
Right, that's what
I was using that
referring
as an example. I think everybody pretty much understood that. I mean, I was using it, I completely understand about the funds, and I completely understand about the restriction.
I wasn't
That was an
challenging that, I
example.
just needed us to
Well, I
remind
was
the
just-
community.
I was clarifying. I think a majority of people understood that, though.
Here's something I think we need to consider too. So I'm looking at the number of teachers for the 25-26 school year that were on stage 3, that was 287. I'm noticing that for next year, it's 373. And the stage 1 and stage 2, those numbers are pretty similar. So my concern is if we go back to what we have done in the past, Career Ladder next year is going to cost us more than what it cost us this year because there are more teachers that will be on the $5,000 step. So that is concerning.
Yeah, that
to
stage
me.
1 and 2 is really tight. You just get 2 years and then you move to the 3-year one. And then you wait 2 years and then you move to the 5+. And so it's just really tight there. But you're right, our numbers have gone up on the stage 3, which is a great thing.
That's a
because
good
then-
thing, though.
Yeah, that is, we're having high quality educators in here. It's just, it's, we have 373.
And I understand too that stage 3 will always be higher because it encompasses many years of teaching, not just 2 and 3 like stage 1 and 2.
so would it be possible to maybe postpone our vote on this until you're able to review some of this other information and we maybe for sure have a better idea? Could I make a motion to do that? I would like to.
However, there's one on the table now. Is there not? No, we're just still discussing.
Yeah, I think Ms. Williams open discussion.
I mean, I would like to make a motion to postpone cuts to Career Ladder until this supplemental information could be vetted and looked at. And we have a better idea of what's possibly coming down the line in the legislature.
I second.
I'm going to repeat that and speak into the mic a little better for me so I can.
Yeah, sorry, my words are going together.
That's all right.
I would like to make a motion to postpone the vote on Career Ladder until admin has additional time to review the supplemental information and we have a better idea of what is happening in the Missouri legislature.
And I was the second.
I have a question before we move to that. How long have you been working on this?
Since March, We started the process of building the career ladder with the intention of carrying forward with the three ranges. And then it was shared that with state funding and the cuts to career ladder that perhaps we needed to do something. And so, everything's taken a hit on the academic service side. I shared with you guys in the weekly update. We're keeping certain software pieces based on teacher feedback that adds to a cost. We have to get right what's right in academics and to ensure that we're leading with the lens of looking at academics always in this piece.
And with the increase of numbers of the 26, when we rerun these numbers, tier 3 is going to cost us more. I mean, so the 26 numbers are going to come back saying that we're going to spend more on career ladder based on the increase of the tier 3. So this number is only going to get larger when it comes to local contribution using this year's number than last year. Also on the information that was given to us, it's based on 259 staff. In 2 years ago we had 287 in stage 3. This year we had 373. So as that stage gets larger, tier 3 is going to cost us locally more and more money. So I have a fear that when the data comes back, it's only going to show that every year our local contribution is going up more and more and more because of the stage 3 growth. So
I guess, and as mentioned, it's positive growth.
Right.
I mean, it's not a negative growth. I mean, it's a good thing. It's what we want. I'm just leery of removing money out of our teachers' pockets.
Well, because we can add wonderful courses to the course selection, we can buy all the high quality curriculum in the world, but if we don't have quality teachers to utilize it or to teach those classes, then for what? I mean, they are our most valuable asset.
I want to chime in here, two things. One, Mrs. Studer has talked about, we have a lot of teachers who participated in mentoring and other things that are now being compensated separately outside of Career Ladder. So it's not as if that compensation is fully just not happening. There's other compensation that's happening for mentoring, coaching, all of those things, even supervision, tutoring, all of those things. Secondly, with all due respect to Ms. Miller, there's been a working group that's been involved in this decision for months with MSTA and NEA feedback. And so I think back to a couple months ago when I said this, but if not this, then what? And we've presented some options for the board to consider. And some of those are really impactful, not only to the classroom, but students directly. And so we are in a financial position where we have to make tough decisions, and I understand that this is uncomfortable, but I also believe we're going to have to make these tough decisions, and it's not eliminating Career Ladder, it is scaling it down.
Can you please talk to me about tutoring that happens through title money?
Yeah, and I was just working with Dr. Hedgeforth today on building tutoring funds. So each building does have its tutoring fund that teachers can be compensated for. They clock in and achieve that. And Dr. Hedgeforth, is there anything, our buildings, how frequently do they use that building tutoring fund?
Yeah, every building has allocation, and we leave it up to those administrators and those leaders in that building to decide the best. I'm not the best person to make that decision, so we allocate to the building and they best decide how that can be used.
So then if a teacher doesn't get to have stage 3, and so let's say they're on stage 2, they complete all their Career Ladder hours, which are, will you remind me again what stage 2?
Stage 2, 75 hours.
Okay, so if a teacher, I'm just trying to see the picture. If a teacher completes their 75 hours of Career Ladder, can they tutor children? Let's say they come to June, they get the PD. Can they tutor above and beyond those 75 hours?
Yes, with approval from their supervisor and their principal, absolutely they can. That's the same thing that Dr. McGinnis was just kind of sharing with you guys, is that We are trying to work a system here where, if I could, we would just invest in building tutoring, and we would put that money in building tutoring for all kids. But with mentoring, you know, we offer a $500 compensation. With student council, it's like $1,200. We're trying to have our staff use the systems that we've created so that we don't depend on a system that may not be in existence in 27, 28.
I have a question. Okay, so just, I don't know like if I understand this. Okay, so if there is a change in career ladder, all of those educators who will be missing $2,000 will be able to automatically make that at the district doing a different thing.
I don't know if 2,000, I mean, I didn't like look at the numbers on how much that is allocated per building on that.
Well, and that's my thing, like, okay, so career ladder, if you're eligible, you're able, to do that, right? Well, okay, but these other extra duty things, everyone's not gonna be able to do that, and everyone isn't gonna be able, to do that to the amount of money, that they're gonna be missing. And so I do understand, that there are other options. Everyone's not gonna be able to do all those other options, right?
We don't have 300 student council positions.
Right.
Just
I
something to
have
think
another
about.
question too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just something to think about. And I don't know logistics of this, but if we do push this up another month, I don't know if you can have a June 1 start date.
That was
defer to someone
that
else
was
to just
going to
think
be
about
my
that.
next question. If we postpone this, what happens to the professional development that's happening in June? So would that mean potentially teachers couldn't even do that in June?
Without approval of the plan, no.
Okay, because that means we have no plan, correct?
Right.
Okay. So then that would mean people that are counting on the professional development in June as well as tutoring wouldn't get that option, and they would have to do all of their hours after school has started-ish.
Couldn't you continue on? Well, I mean, as I understand this, everybody will get paid. We're just choosing an amount, correct? Meaning, if I did PD in June, I'm still getting paid.
No.
It's either at this level or like another level. Am I wrong? Or what?
Because this plan needs to be, like, when I sent this document to Dr. Katniss at the state, the projected board approval from you guys was on May 26th. And so I would have to go back to Paul Katniss to see, this wasn't approved by our board. What are next steps in this work?
When's it due by?
The plan was submitted to DESE. So DESE has already seen our plan. They looked at the 8 elements and they've said this plan is a solid, like, you have the 8 elements to carry forward in the career ladder work.
Okay, but there's not like a due date like at the end of May, end of June.
Well, I'm sure that Dr. Hedgecorth would like to have like a budget set, because the majority of the academic service team budget is centered around career ladder.
If this is not approved and we kept the original plan, we would need to go back and ask all of those teachers about their choices. And that's extra time, right?
Well, that would be about us looking at like the years of service and ensuring like we have that documentation for years of service. It would just be about getting with our principals to ensure the years of service, and that they would indicate that we would move any individual that was on stage 2 to stage 3.
I think
You see what I'm saying about that? Like if you would change on that, then.
Yeah, and that's not what's bothering me. What's bothering me is we talk about this collaboration and support, but didn't we just have the leader of MST get up and say, don't ask the board not to support this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so where was the disconnect?
I don't know. In the emails back and forth, we followed, whatever recommendations they had provided for revision work. And the two questions that they centered there was the inclusion of groups and the inclusion of the start time. And should the state come back and say, hey, we're going to fully fund this, we give consideration to that.
But that isn't what the state said, correct? They cut 15 million still. Or could be more depending on what the governor decides.
They started with 20, they ended up cutting 15 after the House and Senate went to committee.
Okay.
Well, and so realistically, if they kept it at the 15, how much money is that per district? I'm asking hard stuff,
I just
I'm
don't have
sorry.
the numbers of all the career ladder participation districts. I wish I
Well-
did. There's 548 public districts in the state, so I'm gonna say somewhere, I'd have to guess, 350 participate. That's my educated guess.
Yeah. Because I'm just wondering, okay, because we're making a major decision and we may not even really lose as much as we're thinking we're going to lose.
Each way is a possibility.
I like how you answered things, thank you.
So on my motion to postpone, I need to have a time limit. I would just like to postpone until until our next meeting in June, the June 8th public work session.
Regular board meeting? Regular meeting? Well,
Has to be a regular board meeting.
yeah, we
Okay, then
can't
June
vote on a work
22nd.
session.
It doesn't have to be a regular, like, if you want to add an action item at the end of the work session, we have many times done that.
Fair, yeah.
I was just thinking for time's sake, if we're wanting it sooner rather than later in the first board meeting, but again, I'm new here, so I will follow.
And what's that date of the June work session?
June, work session is June the 8th.
And then the 22nd is our regular meeting.
Okay.
When is the June PD?
There's lots of different June opportunities. June 10th, I know that Calvin and her team are leading proficiency scales. We're going down to Kansas City on Monday and Tuesday next week for writing professional learning. So
it will start before June 8th. But
some of the things will start before June 8th.
Then that gets tricky because some teachers would have the opportunity to use their career ladder, and if we don't look at it until June the 8th, then some teachers won't have that same option potentially.
I mean, in all honesty, it's a week. Like, if it begins on June 1 and we're looking at it again on the 8th and we're going to make a decision on the 8th, if there's opportunity lost in a week over the option of an extra $2,000, I bet they'd understand.
I just want to throw out there the due date for the state was April 30th, so that's when the application was due. It does say on our application that it would be pending board approval today, so I don't know what that would look like with the state. That's something Mrs. Streeter would have to investigate.
I call for the question to postpone if we have a date for it. Do you have a date?
I would say June 8th.
Okay. I call for the question to postpone.
Okay. Will you do roll call, please, on the motion to postpone?
Can you repeat the motion just so everyone knows what we're voting on?
Motion to postpone the vote on the career letter until June 8th, so administration has time to look at the additional information. Good? Okay. Ms. Chesney?
No.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
No.
Ms. Miller?
No.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
And Ms. Williams?
Yes.
So,
Now we need a recommendation. Yeah.
yes. So now we need a motion to approve the career ladder as presented by the academics team.
I'd make that motion.
Okay. Jacob, can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ken.
And Ms. Jacob and Kim?
Yes.
Any other questions?
I think that I want to make the statement that this obviously has been a very, very difficult decision for all of us to make.
Okay. Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
No.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Ms. Beal?
No.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Motion fails, 3-4. So since that motion failed, I'm assuming what the board, the will of the board is that it will go back to the academics team and they'll bring a different plan. We can't not have a plan at all.
I think the will of the board was to not adopt that plan, would we not keep the plan that we already have?
You have to reapply every year.
Okay, then I guess instead of postponing to June 8th, we'll come up with a whole new plan.
No, we're keeping the old ones.
That's what I thought, but they said no.
You would
The
reapply
motion
the
was
old.
not to keep the old plan.
You have to reapply every year with the state for career ladder.
Yes, I understand that. Okay, but the motion was approval of the new plan, and
Yes,
it was not approved,
correct.
meaning we would need to apply with a plan, right?
It's past the deadline. Right now, as it stands, we have no career ladder plan.
So, and as a new board member, I'm a little frustrated with some of this because I feel like my hand is being forced in several things that we're voting on this evening, where information isn't given to us in an appropriate amount of time, or we don't have time to review the information or ask for additional things because it has to be done by the end of this month. And so this would be another one of those things. If this, when was our stuff to the state due?
April 30th.
So then we should have approved this before April 30th, before we had to send things to the state to be approved.
The DESI guidance and that is stating that boards can approve it past. We just needed a projected board approval.
Can approve it, you know, but it's not like you need to approve it, right?
Well,
We are talking about it past the deadline.
okay, but what I'm saying
That's what
is
this
that
means.
if DESI is saying the board can approve it after the deadline, if a board fails to approve the plan that was proposed, there has to be a policy or some procedure in place for that.
Yeah, because in all honesty, it's like, I feel like it's either approve our plan or it's nothing over the deadline.
Which is why I say I feel like my hand is being forced. Because I don't want our teachers to lose out on this, but I also don't want them to have no option for a career ladder.
Right, but we're not forcing your hand. I mean, you made a motion to accept a tiered system that we haven't seen, right?
No, I
And
made a
that
motion for it
failed.
to be reviewed, not to be accepted, and you are forcing my hand when you propose a policy that, or you propose a plan that I either have to approve or there's no plan. That is forcing my hand. It's either saying approve this or there's nothing. There's no second option or no other alternative.
We've had it as an informational item twice.
And I've asked for more information, and a lot of us have asked several questions about the plan before.
And we've let you know our issues about the plan, what we don't like in detail about the plan. Okay, but there were no alterations or anything. It was just,
There were
moving on.
Yes, there were alterations, and she shared those with
Not
us.
according to what we were asking for is our thing.
So as it stands right now, you have no career ladder plan.
You said that, we understand that. We're trying to figure out how to go forward. Now, is there any guidance on that?
I will have to connect with Desi and Paul Katniss down there as he leads up the career ladder work and get a recommendation from him.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Yay!
Okay.
Let's talk about that addendum to the
I brought a guest with me.
Thank you for coming.
I've got Tammy Killen here from the YMCA. So we are bringing to you an addendum to the MOU with the YMCA for a early learning expansion childcare. We currently have before and after care, before the beginning of the school day and at the end at both sites. As you guys know, we are changing our programming for next year, and we also live in a child care desert here in the community. And so we are hoping to expand some community services, even if it's just for a little bit. And since we already have that MOU with the Y, this would just be an expansion. And so she put together a proposal, and the proposal, as it's stated on the board docs, stated that Lake would be our first place to start, and as soon as that would get going, then we would work on Mark Twain. So do you guys have any questions for Tammy or myself?
I emailed a list of questions. Could you explain those answers?
I only got one question, so if there was more than one, the question that I received, unless you got some, did you get any questions? The one I received was regarding the ratio of the staff to students. Is that the question that you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and so I believe I responded that there was an error, so we uploaded a different explanation. So how that was we have at Mark Twain, we have licensing for 30 students, but we've never ran it at 30, we've only ran it at 20, just because of
staffing,
quality, knowing that with the space, they said with this space you could have up to 30, but we've only done up to 20. And so knowing that with this proposal, they would be utilizing one of our classrooms, and we would never put more than 20 students in there. So we're sticking with 20. So the new proposal that was added states that.
Okay, cool. And just, to be clear, at each of the locations, it's 20 max, 2 staff members on each, correct?
There is a, go ahead and speak to the extra
and then a
person.
floater
Yes,
and a director.
yes, all the extra, yeah.
Right.
And so I do want to point out, and I don't know if you want to speak to this or I can, I know that it's a little confusing with the fact that there's 20 spots, but there could be more students because some of them might use just the morning or just the afternoon.
In the morning or afternoon, yes, I understand that.
Okay, you understand, I figured you did. So
Yeah, I'm using like 20 as like one's up
at a time.
2 halves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at a time, there would never be more than 20 students in that room. But there could be 30 students participating or
Enrolled, yes,
whatever, yeah.
yes. Yes, I do appreciate the clarification. As I was looking at the information, I'm just like, 30 kids, 2 staff, no, we can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to maintain the ratio,
Right.
as you know, with the state ratio of the 1 in 10, so.
The other thing I do want to point out is this does not void any arrangement we already have with our original MOU. So there's no cost to the school district for this. Any additional cost would be on their end.
Which I just want to speak to that. We had made modifications last year when we added Lake, and we were able to obtain funds for that. So we do not, I spoke to state licensing about this potential plan to see if there would be any anticipated other expenses to make accommodations. And of course, I won't know 100% on that classroom until that specific classroom is modified in our current license. So it's just a revision to that. But we don't anticipate that, but we are prepared, my board is prepared to address that, and we will of course keep the district aware of that situation. But at this point, we don't anticipate that being a difficult situation.
I just want to say I appreciate you working on this and making this more accessible to families, and also providing opportunities for financial assistance, accepting state subsidy. The cost is actually really reasonable for a week of childcare having 4 kids. I don't know what that cost is, but I do appreciate this because it does help keep half-day preschool accessible to those who would otherwise require full-day care.
I do have a question.
Are you open on Fridays? I'm sorry, are you open on Fridays too?
Yes, we would be the whole day, yes.
Because I know we're starting at Lake and then moving to Mark Twain, if there would be like this gigantic wait list of children that would need care at Mark Twain, could that come quicker than halfway through the year?
It's really about the licensing, so that would be on our part. We do have 2 classrooms identified, one at Mark Twain and one at Lake. It's just working through that, so if you want to speak to that.
Well, we are prepared to start as quick as we need to. So whether that need becomes apparent mid-summer, then absolutely. We are kind of going ahead, like we visited the classrooms, we're already contacting fire inspectors, so we can get that just in case there becomes a demand for Mark Twain.
Yes,
So
because I know I had a concern. Yeah, I had a concern that if I'm a parent, my child's in Mark Twain attendance area, I want to utilize, but it's not there, that I might find other childcare, and then the child would already be enrolled somewhere else and would lose their spot, and I just don't want that to happen to anybody, so that was my concern for that.
If you're open on a Friday and there's more kids, enrolled, who's able to attend on Fridays?
So it would still just be the same children, and we would maintain the same population that we have during the week, so we wouldn't be able to take in additional.
No, I mean like, if I've enrolled a child and my child attends in the mornings at the daycare and then the preschool in the afternoon, and I want them to go all day, Friday, and there's more enrolled, like over spots, what happens then?
So typically in situations, well, we haven't been in that situation,
Right.
but when we've had, we always do a first come, first serve. So that way, we don't have to decipher, one from the other. So it would be a first come, first serve at the date that they applied for that position.
Okay.
And I hope that doesn't happen, but you're right, we need to be prepared for that.
Any other questions or concerns?
Okay, cool. I make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Latonya.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
That's motion passes 7-0. All right, Hilliard Technical Center equipment purchase. I have 2 names on here, Chris or Robert.
Yeah, so. Did you want me? Chris, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the detailed information on this purchase, though. I would be able to start out, and then once they ask that first tough question, I would have said, Chris. So might as well go straight to the source.
Hello. Okay, so we have a pot of money that was allocated to us 3 years ago, maybe, to build the simulated manufacturing facility and to equip that. That was House Bill 2. In the process of using those funds, we did not use all of the monies that were allocated to us. And we just assumed the deadline had passed, that money had gone away, went back to the state, they reallocated it elsewhere, all that stuff. Turns out that is not the case. The state legislature has reallocated that money 2 additional times, Finally, this time, they contacted and asked, are you going to spend this money? And we didn't even know that money was still available to be spent. That money is earmarked for equipment and expansion related to Hilliard Technical Center. Can't be used for salaries, can't be used for professional development, has to be used for equipment and purchases to enhance the student learning there. We've already spent some of that for smaller ticket things, textbooks, smaller equipment, but some of the items we would like to purchase are above the threshold, and you guys would need to approve those expenditures. It is 100% reimbursed by the state. If those monies are not spent by June 31st, they go away forever. So, are there any questions? I believe you have a list of the things. I will tell you those numbers. Those are that you should have are you would approve expenditures not to exceed those amounts. Some of the stuff we've been in contact with the companies, those quotes have come back slightly lower than what I put on there. Does that make sense?
Does anyone have any questions?
So you wouldn't plan on overshooting then, right?
It would not, no.
Yeah.
It would not overshoot that, no.
Yeah, gotcha, thank you.
Nope.
Could I have a motion for approval of the Hilliard Technical Center equipment purchase?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Kim.
Mrs. Jessie?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Right. Casey?
Okay, the integrated pest control contract extension. So what I'm presenting to you is the approval for the first renewal amendment. If you recall the background, Preferred Pest Control won the public bid last July, which we went into contract with them on July 1. That contract is due for renewal June 30th of this year. Per the RFP, it allows us to do 2 years of continuing service if we choose to. So what this is a renewal for the July 1 of 2026 to the June 30th of 2027. The increase would be a 3.5% increase, which brings it to $41,078.16, which is an overall increase of just a little over $1,900. So what I'm asking for is the approval to move forward with Preferred Pest for the next fiscal year. Any questions?
It's not a question, it's a comment. And it's actually just about like a few action items over the timing. We're receiving information late and it was not an informational item. Prior to an action item, I will be approving on this. And other ones, only in the information I received, it said that we don't want this, to be the norm, but it is our norm on like a few action items. And so I'm just asking our board, to be cognizant of, like all of us are always about transparency, and everything like that. It's not going to be implemented an informational item and then an action item. And I would just like to continue on the process. Only I will be voting yes on this. I do approve of this, but it's going to always be things.
Sure. So they did ask me if they could put it on here, and I did say yes. So if you want to blame somebody, blame me. I guess I'll use next month as an example. Our information meeting's on June 8th. So that means everything needs to be due by June 1st. It's May 26th right now. And so to be able to get things approved, it is hard to turn around that quickly when, things like this and RFP has to be in the newspaper for 2 weeks. And so I would ask that maybe overall the board we think about that. A lot of districts have a business meeting and then have more of a board conversation meeting but they can still always have action items, kind of like you mentioned on that one where we could, with career ladder, we could add the action item to the informational. If we know we have that leeway, it would help. Or maybe this could have been an action item on the first meeting in June. But hopefully you can see that trying to get everything, we end this board meeting tonight, and we have, 4 or 5 days to get everything we need to be approved for the next board meeting by June 1st. That timeline is tough.
Yes, I completely understand that, and maybe we can look at a compromise, but just getting information, and it's like, I need to approve this or it will be late. It's like, we're not giving an option of getting a look at the information, altering anything, offering a change, anything like that. And so I do understand your position. I want you to also understand our position as well.
Absolutely. Duly noted, and my apologies for the pest control and the waste disposal contract for that.
Well, the good news is it's not something brand new, it's a renewal, so that's kind of the good news of it all.
So my apologies for the tardiness.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve the pest control contract with Preferred Pest?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
I will
Mike.
second Mike's motion.
Okay.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, you again, Casey.
Yes, so this is the results from the RFP for solid waste disposal services for the entire district. This encompasses all 30 buildings. If you can see the breakdown I provided, it goes on the frequencies, the amount of, the size of the unit that is dumped on a weekly basis, and also roll-off services. The estimated cost would be $210,068 for the annual, and that does not include the tonnage charges, which would be looked at on a time-to-time basis, and that'll be just, rather than in the past, we'll pay a lump sum, no matter if the dumpster would have been half empty or full. So this time I put in the RFP to where we will, and thank you to one of the bidders, they made their recommendation in the middle, so we made an amendment, which was to pay only on tonnage fees for what we actually dispose of, rather than paying some overages. So thank you very much for that person bringing that up, Mr. Huff. So with that being said, we're looking at probably an additional maxed out, if we maxed every roll-off dumpster, an additional $20,000. So that's what the proposal would cover for the next annual contract.
Any questions? Okay, could I have a motion, please, then, to accept the district waste disposal contract?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cassandra. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jacob.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes 7-0. It's your turn again.
Thank you. On to the next, this is the Ruby-Doo roof replacement and overlay that we had talked about. I do apologize for getting the results to you later than expected. But so the overall contract, we had 2 bidders that bid. We had 4 companies that did walk the job, but 2 successful bids were turned in. What I'd like to do is to award the contract to Roberts Roofing for the amount of $198,400. And that also is going to include, if we get into any deck repairs needed or insulation replacement, which I do anticipate there being a few spots, just by walking on it, it feels a little soft in a few spots. So I did put those amounts per square foot on the bid evaluation sheet as well. So I do intend on having an additional cost associated to the $198,400 once we get into the roof.
And if I read it right, they were lower on that replacement than the other bid, correct?
Absolutely.
So the company we're going with does minimize or kind of lower the potential of what we could get into?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ready? Could I have a motion, please, for the Ruby-Doo roof replacement?
So moved.
Thank you, Jacob.
I'll second.
Thank you, Cassandra. All right.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Carnes?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Okay, motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay, the next, we're on letter J here, the tabled personnel action. And so I would like to have a motion to remove the tabled motion from the table.
What now?
When something is tabled.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I know that's-
Once we tabled it last meeting.
Yes, I understand that. I just wanted you to clarify that.
Yes, I will. Let me try to say that again, okay? So what I would like to do is remove the motion that was tabled. We'll take it off the table and bring it back to our meeting.
Would someone like to entertain that?
Yes, would someone like to entertain a motion to do that?
It must be taken from the
Yes.
table.
Yes, so I need a
For
motion.
approval by the board.
Yes.
Yes,
To even consider.
Yes.
right.
Correct.
So did you make the motion to remove it?
I do not.
Okay.
Okay, since we have no motion, the item will stay on the table and will die. Okay? Okay, all right, so moving on to letter K, Cassandra.
Oh, yes, so Jennifer and I had met up after our last board meeting. We'd had some brief email discussion, then we met up in person and went over just some of the concerns collectively from different board members regarding communication with legal counsel, how that information is disseminated, respecting and maintaining attorney-client privilege, ensuring that we all have equitable access to the information and things like that. So we created this proposed, we kind of debated if it was going to be proposed policy or procedure, but procedure is what you do to follow the policy, so I feel like it's going to have to be a policy if we wish to adopt this. But it's designed just to support transparency, shared governance, accountability, fiscal responsibility, and ensuring that all the board members have timely access to information from legal. I know I didn't get it sent out until Monday afternoon. After meeting with Jennifer, I was trying to make sure that I had all of our concerns in there appropriately. So I mean, I appreciate if you guys want to take some more time to review it, but I did want it to be on our meeting as an agenda item because we had talked about it at the previous meeting. For transparency, I don't want to fall through and let people know that over the last couple of weeks we have been working on this. But yeah, thoughts, feelings, anything you want to share with me of it? Anything?
I make a motion for approval. Are you going to call for a second?
Yes. Do we have a second to the motion?
I mean, I can second it.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Okay, I want to say, I appreciate all the work you put into this. I mean, this is a lot.
It's a lot.
I would like us to have a chance, like with the other policies that came through last month, you know, we had the 20 other policies. They went through a work session and then they went to the board. I would love to do that with this. I think setting a June date. Some of the things that I noticed that we just kind of need to clean up or clarify is that under board member legal inquiries, it says any board member may submit questions to legal counsel concerning board governance. But underneath representation of the board, second paragraph, it says, nothing in this policy shall be construed or authorized or to authorize any individual board member to direct, supervise, retain, or assign work to legal counsel. To ask a question is to assign work because they have to respond. So I think we need to clarify that. And then also under the authority of the board, it says no individual board member, board officer, administrator, or employee shall possess independent authority to control, limit, or direct or restrict communications. Asking a question is directing communications. So I just feel like we need to decide if any board member can do that, then we got to clean up the language on those two examples.
It says it has to be authorized by the board majority.
But underneath the board member's legal inquiries, any board member may submit questions to legal counsel concerning board governance, board authority, board procedures, ethics requirements, conflict of interest, the Missouri Sign, all that.
And then it says, the identifying of the requesting board member and the subject matter of the inquiry shall be, oh, sorry, I see what you're saying. It should be available to the full board. But it does, because I did question that a little bit, if the wording seemed conflicting, so that's why I'm saying I appreciate the feedback. But it does state in here explicitly multiple times that that's only done with approval of the board majority. And it also has pieces in here about being fiscally responsible with the advice that we're requesting of legal, and being mindful of the fact that this is paid through taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So I mean, all those kind of play together, but no, absolutely, email me.
Yeah, the questions I have are not to minimize the work you've done. It's just to support why I think we still have some work to do.
I don't feel like you're minimizing anything.
Like over here on like the written summary of oral communication, one of the questions I have is who writes that written summary? Is that the board member who received it, or is that legal counsel? I think we just need to specify that.
Preferably legal.
And that's fine. We can work through it like the work session. Does that also include day-to-day and day in and day out communication with the superintendent? You know, in other parts, the superintendent or administrator can contact legal for day in and day out operations. Would they also fall underneath of the written summary within a 24-hour policy? I think we just need to clarify that. Also, underneath attendance of legal counsel executive session, it says when deemed necessary by legal counsel. My question would be, I don't know if we want to make ourselves where they can request their own presence there. I think we need a board approval to ultimately bring them in. So there's just little things. And then just pragmatically, everything has to have board action. And for that to be accomplished, we're going to have a meeting. And so for us to go down this road, which I'm fine with, we're all going to have to be willing to make a meeting for us to ever contact legal. So if there's ever an email that needs to be sent, a phone call that needs to be sent, anything that this board needs to do, we're going to have a closed session. Because it's the board acting as a collective governing body.
Which bullet point are you on, Jacob? Because you brought up a lot of stuff. I'm trying to follow.
So on their purpose, the second paragraph, shall remain subject to the authority and direction of the board acting. So for us to act as a board, we would have to be in a session.
Listen, I think it's a great start.
I do too.
I'd love to take it through a work session and do some of this scenario, right? So like Mike Moore has a question, what happens?
Okay, yeah.
My thing is, in the meantime, what are we gonna do? Because we're doing this over non-transparency and no trust. If this is out for like another month at the work session and then at the meeting of the board at the end of June, it's okay, but there's lots of legal stuff going on. It's lots of communication, that we're not a part of. And so what are we gonna do in the meantime while all this is up in the air?
I'm going to continue doing what I have done since our last executive session, which is to have legal send out an email and summarize any time that there's been a conversation. So I have done what I said I was going to do, and I'm happy to continue to do that until we come to a total document that we all are in agreement with.
Every single time in every single quarterly, every single conversation is long.
Yes, I'm not.
And what's the time frame?
What do you mean, what's the time frame? Well, I understand.
I think that's easy to understand. What's the time frame? Is it a day?
That would be up to legal, because they'll be the one constructing the email, not me. So I don't really have control over how quickly they could get that done. I'm sure it would depend on other things that they have to do.
Okay, so I have a request. Are you able to let us know when you contact them and let us know are you able to let us know that information is forthcoming?
I could do that.
Because the thing about it is, we receive information all the time, and we don't know what's going on about this information, if legal's been contacted, if there's an email or like a conversation. And so I know that I would appreciate knowing what's going on.
I would be happy to do that.
Thank you.
What was your previous practices when you were president?
My previous, I let everybody know what was going on at all times. I know there are members of the boards, they thought that that was not correct. Why are you smiling?
I'm not smiling.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay. Well, you are talking to me because I asked a
No,
question.
no, I was looking next to you. Okay, but the thing about it is, I know that you have an idea of what you thought I was doing and what I was not doing. Okay, but the thing about it is, every time I contacted legal, you guys knew immediately afterwards.
No, the reason I asked that question is I tried to ask it privately in that email to you, and I didn't get an
I know,
answer.
and I replied back, no. Because when I looked at your email, it was a bunch of nonsense, and I was not addressing anything there.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Also, guys,
So I want to chime in on this one with a few things. I mean, first of all, last year, me and Latonya gonna have to agree to not agree on this one. But going forward, I do agree that it does need to be discussed as a board. Cassandra did a good job writing this up. But my question is, can we make this a policy, or will it have to be a procedure? What is the procedure on that?
that is where I was gonna say, before you can make this a policy, you're going to have to take it through MSBA. You guys can vote on it, but they will not put it into our policies until they have looked at it. Now, if you put it as a procedure, then they will, because it's a procedure, it's not a policy. Don't ask me why, but that's the way they
Okay,
do
well, in
it.
the meantime, you can just email them and ask them their recommendation on what we should do.
Well, and I guess my question would be, who's enforcing the procedures? You know what I'm saying, that we're following procedure?
MSBA gives us our policies.
Right, but policy and procedure are different, correct?
Right.
Okay, so who
Right.
enforces?
For the procedures, those are from administration.
Well,
So
then it's
this
not able
would
to
be
a
from the
procedure.
board.
Well, if it's a policy, the board enforces the policies, correct?
Right.
I'm happy to send this to MSBA and get some
I
communication
can send it
going.
to them.
And, yeah, would you just see me on there, maybe CC Jennifer, do you want to be a part
Hello,
of that
Jennifer.
as well?
Say that one more time, Cassandra.
Donna was offering to forward this like rough draft to MSBA to have them take a peek at it. Would you want to be CC'd on that email along with me? To see what?
Well, yeah, that'd be fine, but do we want to discuss it as a board first?
Yeah, I think maybe that might be a good idea, so we could work out kinks that we already know are going to work, and then that way maybe it would help them do it quicker too.
Either way, I mean, however you feel is best to go about it, Donna, or if you have a recommendation. I mean, I don't think it hurts to send it to MSBA and just get a response. That way we have something to go off as well if they say, you know, you have to follow X, Y, Z to get it done first. I mean, we're gonna be making adjustments to it anyway, so.
Because I
I
know
don't
what
think
they
it
will
hurts
do,
to do
they will
both.
take it to their lawyers that they have on staff and have them look at it. And then they would come back with recommendations.
And that would be nice to have before we have a group discussion, just to know anyways on things that we might have to adjust.
And I can copy the entire board on that email.
I appreciate that. Thank
So
you, Donna.
would they have it typically done by our next work session?
I can request that.
Okay, that way we can keep moving on this. Okay?
So we still have a motion and a second on the floor. The motion was to approve the policy as presented. We'll move on to,
I remove my motion.
thank you.
Okay. Let me type that and then you're up. Board policy updates.
Yes, we did board policy updates, and Latanya had corrected one BCE, and I believe she spoke to that at our work session, so I have included that. Do we have any other questions or concerns on these? If not, then we need a motion to approve them.
Okay. Can I have that
With
motion?
corrections.
Can I have that motion, please?
Do we have a second?
Kim
Motion.
can make the motion, okay?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike.
vote, please.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Okay, motion passes 7-0. All right, the next item on the agenda is our town hall, and we've had this on the agenda several times now, so I feel like tonight we need to make a decision if we are going to do it and go ahead and get a date set so that we'll know. I know everybody gets busy in the summer, and so we'll know, everybody else will know. So I was wondering, June is a little bit crazy, so I was wondering what your thoughts are about July and having it as part of our July work session. However, our July work session is the 13th, and a couple board members are not going to be able to attend that work session. So I was wondering what the thought of the board might be if we held our work session a week earlier and went ahead and had our work session in the town hall, kind of like we did when we did reorganization in the month of July. So I'm looking at that first week of July.
Checking. Like, after the 4th, you're thinking?
Yes. So I don't know if we want to do the 6th, since that's the Monday right after the 4th of July, is on a Saturday, or if we want to look at later in the week.
So would this be moving our meeting from the 13th to
Yes,
the 6th?
So we do them both in the same night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could make that work.
I can do the
Okay.
6th.
You want to do the 6th? Then it would keep it on a Monday?
I can do the 6th.
I can do the 6th.
Okay. Latanya, can you do the 6th?
Yep.
Okay, Kim?
I will likely have company, so.
Okay. Jennifer, can you do the 6th?
The 6th, I think I am gone,
Okay.
but I can join virtually.
Okay. So since that's the majority of us, let's go ahead and do July 6th, 5:30. We'll start the town hall, and then we'll have our work session after that. That way.
So what I have is a motion to move the July 13th work session to the 6th and hold the town hall as well on the same night.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we need a motion.
Right, so I'm looking for a motion to,
I'll make the motion to move the meeting to July 6th instead
Thank
of
you,
the
Ksenia.
13th and include the town hall.
okay,
I second.
okay, thank you. All right, call vote.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller?
Abstain.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Motion passes 6 with 1 abstention. Now, the next question is, do we want to make a decision tonight as to what that town hall will look like, or do we want to discuss that at the June work session?
Can we do that at the work session?
Sure.
Agreed.
Okay, we'll move it to the June work session then. Ashley, if you're ready? You ready for the district? Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
we have
You
minutes.
still have the approval of the minutes?
Oh, yes, sorry, I wasn't looking where I written that.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I have a motion for the approval of the
This is
minutes?
approved the March minutes.
They have to stay all together.
No, it's a few.
Ah.
That's fine, we can separate them here.
Anyway, I'm good.
So Mike's making a motion to approve the March minutes. Is that correct?
You know, I'm good with all of them. I
Okay.
was just clarifying. I'm
Okay.
good with approving all the minutes.
All right.
Okay. Can I have a second of that, please? Okay, I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
I'll abstain.
Ms. Miller?
Abstain?
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Field?
Abstain.
And Ms. Williams?
No.
The minutes do not pass.
Okay. Okay. Moving on then to district reorganization update.
Okay, thank you. Just a few updates with our district reorganization. We did have the farewell night just a couple of weeks ago. That went really well at Eugene Field and Pershing. We had quite a few attendees at both of those events. Lafayette and Riverview, not as many people, but we're still grateful that we have those opportunities for our students and our families. And then the open house events were also held last week. I think those went well as far as teachers being able to get into the buildings, connect with other staff, their administration, and then also allow that same opportunity for students and families. So both of those events went well. And then moving for staff, Dr. Hedgecourt.
Yeah, so during the spring, we had a staff relocation committee that went through all the different optics of what it would take to reorganize the buildings as is the plan for BR. Talked about transportation, talked about technology, and one of the things was all the extra time and effort that teachers would have to move their classrooms. And so it was greatly urged from the committee that we do something to acknowledge that. And so what we have is any staff member, certified staff member, there's a couple classified staff members that are affected by this relocation, that off contract time, they can clock up to 8 hours to help move and box up, their items in anticipation for the move. And so that's no different than somebody staying and getting paid hourly for the gate. They log in through Frontline, every hour is logged. It is not a stipend, it is paid hourly, just as your career ladder hours are paid hourly. So that's something that came out of that committee meeting, and so that's one of the reasons we implemented that for staff, to be able to give that extra 8 hours for them to do that. I know that was appreciated by many of them.
I have a question about that, about the moving process. Okay, so I know, of course, if everything's new, it's not going to be as easy going all the time. I know that I've heard, and I don't know if anyone else has heard, of some major issues, costs incurred, teachers locked out of buildings, teachers moving everything out of their old school and not able to move it into their new school, and so now it's in like storage units. Is there a way to streamline the process and make it easier? And
Yeah.
then if they're like incurring extra costs like that, like I don't assume like it's normal, okay, but if it's like a one-off or like a 10-off, are they able to get reimbursed?
They will not be able to get reimbursed, and here's why. We gave pretty clear instructions that they're to pack up the materials and leave them and label them in the room. So if they removed them from that room and tried to put them in the new school, they didn't follow the directions given. And so they should not have been taking anything that was boxed to be moved to another location. They were asked to take personal items home. And so I don't know why anybody would have tried to box the materials and then already take them to the new room when the directions given were to leave them in the room.
Do they not have access to their new schools and rooms yet?
Well, the thing is, that person has to be vacated that room and be done before that room's ready. So it's a domino effect. So that's why we ask that they box up their location, leave everything in the room, and then the moving company or maintenance will move the boxes to the new location as labeled on the box. So there are two directions: how to pack everything up, what goes in the boxes, and then the labeling directions as well. So if someone did that, they did it on their own, and they shouldn't have moved it to a new location or a storage unit. Unless it was
And everybody
personal
knows
items.
all of this information, like all schools got. Everybody has this information?
Those affected by the reorganization were sent those directions.
I have another question about the extra items at the schools.
Sure.
Like what's going on? Is there going to be like a big sale?
So we do have board policy on surplus items.
Mhm.
And so any type of surplus items have to be approved by the Board of Education
Mhm.
before it can be deemed surplus and then would be sold. They can be sold auction style. I've seen some where people do a silent auction where they list it on a site. That hasn't been determined yet because we haven't put a list in front of you yet.
Mhm.
There's a website called Gov Deals where it can be listed as well,
Mhm.
but it has to follow that surplus board policy.
Mhm.
For some of the things, some of the questions I've gotten is like, well, what about some of the artifacts at Lafayette? I think it'd be good to get a committee together to talk about how you handle some of those historical things. I've seen people have virtual trophy cases and things like that where it's a picture is documented. Of course, most schools I've seen, no matter what, a state trophy always stays. It's some of the like, you know, second place Winnetonka Invitational. What do you do with a trophy like that that's 30 years old? So I think that that's bigger than me, that's bigger than Casey. That should be a group of people to kind of determine what happens to those items.
Because I know that like at like a few schools, you know, that they're emptying things in the trash and people are going in the trash giving things out. And then I'm also wondering about the libraries of the schools. Like, all the books are not able, you know, to get in all of the schools. There's gonna be lots of duplicates and things like that. Okay, so what are gonna happen to the books? Please give me a good answer. We're not going to throw them away, are we?
Well, I can't give you an answer on that
Dude,
because it's
come on now.
academics. So I
would
have
like a
not
short
been in the weeds on that.
Mhm.
As far as how they handle different materials when it comes to curriculum and books and things like that.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the books in the libraries, reading books.
I can, so for the elementary schools, and I only know what the librarian at Field has told me because my husband and I were asking her about moving and, you know, how things were going. Our librarian at Field, my understanding, if I'm recalling this conversation correctly, is that the librarians from Pershing and Field met and went through all their books and kind of picked and choose and looked at like what was kind of checked out frequently, and then collectively created a school library with what Pershing and Field had. And then they gave classroom teachers the opportunity for books where they have multiples or excess to pick and choose for classroom libraries, so that those were still utilized. And then she didn't speak of any excess or anything like that, but I do know that those two librarians from Pershing and Field were coordinating to make sure that they have good supply of books at the new Riveted Elementary, and that they gave teachers first pick for class libraries.
That's perfect.
So I thought that was awesome.
One thing I've never told anybody is, yes, you can throw that away. Those words have never come out of my mouth, so I can't answer that blanketly with that answer. So.
Well, if there are leftover books, I mean, if we're able, you know, to donate them, give them to kids, anything, but not just empty books in a door, into like a dumpster, or just put them in like a storage and just leave them.
You will be the first ones to know because it has to go surplus in front of the board and approved by the board before they can be sold as surplus or deemed no value, and then it can be disposed of. So at that time, when I bring you a list like that, I will have better direction as I talk to Casey the best way, whether it's Gov Deals, listing our own site, some things like that, to let you know how it will be sold. But yeah, we haven't run anything yet as surplus.
No books in the trash though, right?
If someone did it, they did it on their own accord and not in the direction of.
No, I'm not accusing anybody of nothing. I'm not accusing anybody of nothing. I'm just trying to be proactive.
I have never given a direction that anything could be thrown away. So.
Thank you.
Okay, next piece is staffing update, Mr. Carell.
All right, savings thus far through May 20th. Again, these are savings through attrition. That includes salary and benefits on the sheet that is on assembly. The estimated savings so far is $6.2 million. When looking at these numbers, we have reduced some key areas. I know the public has asked that we cut from the top. So we have reduced 2 district administrators, which is 9% of all district administrators, 5 building administrators, which is 11%, 57 teachers, which is 6% of all certified teachers, and then 3 administrative assistants, and all 3 of those administrative assistants are at the Noyes building, and that is 4% of all administrative assistants.
Any questions questions for Mr. Carell? Okay, the next piece is master scheduling. I know our board has received some emails from staff in regards to their schedule for the fall, so Mrs. Studer's going to speak to that item.
Right, and I'm grateful for Dr. Reed and her organization to ensure that it was communicated all at the same time. And so at May 15th, middle school teachers were informed of what courses they were going to teach. It wasn't, they all knew their initial placement. They were going to be 7th or 8th grade English teachers, or they were going to be English teachers, they just didn't know what grade level. And so they were informed on May 15th, which was the Friday. And then I believe, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Central was informed also that day on May 15th. And then I know Shauna had some tidying up to do with the schedule, and she shared that with her staff the following Monday. So currently, right now, do teachers have tentative placements on what courses they're going to teach? Yes. But as resignations come in, you look at, who is the right person to lead that course. Do they have the certification to lead that course? And then you also look at the request from students, which request from the high school lens are students enrolling in. So I wanted to share that with you. So yes, there is communication that teachers do know tentative placement on where people courses they'll be teaching next year.
Any other questions about our district reorganization?
I have one question, and you might not be able to answer it, Mr. Crowell, but as part of the staffing update, those positions that we have lost, like through attrition that we're not backfilling, how many of those positions could we have cut or not filled without closing any of the buildings?
That I do not know. I can tell you most of our positions that we have reduced is middle school and high school.
Okay.
So I would say if we kept the high schools open, again, I don't have a number, but I can't imagine that we could have reduced 15 if we kept all three open.
Any other questions? Okay, our next informational item, I feel like we've covered it already. You're in agreement that we've already talked about that? So the communication from legal services procedures, which is what you brought to us, correct, Cassandra?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this one is saying it's from you. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it was from me originally thinking we were going to talk about it in general, and then you brought your proposal to us, so, okay. All right. So, future meetings and events on June the 8th, we'll have our board work session at 5:30. June 19th is Juneteenth holiday observed, so the district will be closed. June 22nd is the next Board of Education meeting at 5:30. And June the 29th is our board work training session that starts at 9 o'clock. And I am working with MSBA to get that scheduled, and I'll be sending out a request if you have things that you would like to be added to that. I'll be sending that out this week, so they have that. And then I need someone to make a motion to adjourn our meeting, please. Yeah, you're good at this.
Do I have my language?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's not great on here.
I need a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to 610.021, closed meetings and closed records for 1, legal, 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting a particular employees, and 13, individually identifiable personnel records.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're ready for roll call.
Ms. Chesney?
Yes.
Ms. Kearns?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes?
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. Motion passes and our meeting is adjourned to